Project Rise has just dropped us a new update regarding the development and what the next stages are of developing their game. But first, how did you guys not choose the Battle Healer when we were voting for the next playable class inside of the game? A Battle Healer would have been one of the best for team synergy inside of an action RPG roguelike dungeon crawler like this one. Instead, I'm just kidding by the way, you guys chose P.E.K.K.A, Skeleton King, Headhunter, Royal Cook, then the Battle Healer, with the Goblin Brawler being the least popular. Just saying, I think the Battle Healer would be awesome. I would assume that at some point in time we'll probably see the majority of those. Cross our fingers, Battle Healer come to our game. So we have an update on what's going on and what the next stages of development are going to be. I'm going to take you through what they share with us, actually what Frame is sharing with us, and a bunch of images that show a bunch of the UI as well, so we can get a better idea of what the game's actually going to look like. So here we have first, they talk about the hero pages. We're currently working on implementing the first meta features into the game, namely using hero badges and gold to level up your heroes. So hero levels, hero badges, and gold are going to be needed for leveling our character. Heroes have 18 levels and 6 tiers: Brave, Mighty, Heroic, Mythic, Champion, and Legendary. I actually like the names of those. They sound very action RPG-esque. Leveling up requires that gold and those hero badges. When you level up, the hero gets a small stat boost and access to more upgrades, trait, or ultimate slots, and choices for those slots. The page itself is fairly self-explanatory, but here's a brief overview. They always do seem to make things quite easy to understand. Hero tier is shown in the top left along with hero name and class. The magnifying glass can be tapped to view a full breakdown of the hero stats and skills, and the hero's primary ability described on the top right, with upgrade slots for that ability, skills, traits, and ultimate accessible below it. So let's take a quick look at that UI and what it looks like. As you can see, you have the Valkyrie, Smasher, Health, Attack. Here is that magnifying glass for a full breakdown. Here is the description of the ability that's being used. These are your ability slots. As you can see, 2 can be unlocked, traits and ultimates in place. You have your hero badges up here where there's 166 and 2,500 gold. And down below we have that upgrade button so that we can quickly upgrade our character to the next level. It looks very Supercell-y, done the Supercell way, which we know has worked well for them over time. So I like that they're sticking with that, specifically with a completely new genre for them. Now we have perk selection. And a cool thing that they did here is they made it so that when you're choosing your perks inside of the game, you don't have to wait for everyone else. That was a big problem inside of the game when we were playing it in the pre-alpha. The team skill levels up together. When the team levels up, every team member gets a single perk point to spend. Tapping the gear icon in the top left opens the perk selection screen. Note, gameplay is no longer paused while choosing a perk, so heroes can be attacked while the menu is up. If you take damage though, the menu will auto shut. I absolutely love this. This was one of the biggest downfalls of the game. When you were having to wait for people to choose their perks, it just took away from the fun. It took you out of the battle and it took you out for too long. But now it's going to allow you to stay in there for a long, it's going to keep you in the battle. And you may have to go find safety before you could actually choose those perks. So I absolutely love it. And if you take damage, it'll auto shut, which is nice so you don't just die on your team. Perks now have an elixir cost. Most perks start at 1 and increase with each level of the perk, example 1, 2, or 3. But more rare and more powerful perks will cost more. Perk points persist between floors, so you can save up for more expensive perks if you don't feel the need to spend right away. Oh, I like that as well. You don't need to instantly choose your perks. You can save it away in your little stash, and you can upgrade to something more punchy as you progress and as you get more savings. Every player gets 2 free rerolls per floor, allowing you to refresh a perk if you don't like the choices presented. All 3 cards are refreshed when you choose a perk. And tapping the info button on each card will show the level 1, 2, 3 effect of the perk. That way we can make some good choices right there. And what we're looking at right here is a little bit of an attack going on. Doesn't look like there's much of the perk happening right here. You have the dodge effect. You have one character. You have the the elixir, I believe that is, or that was actually the I called that elixir inside of the game, but it was actually the stones that you would use for your upgrades. You have your feather as well, which is a rejuvenation of life, your attacks, and the screen of movement. We also have this here, which is Death Blast. This is the choosing a perk screen. Death Blast, chance that enemies explode on death, dealing 24 damage, is a 10% chance of that. Charge up, sub skill charge, and you have your confirm button there as well if you want to do that. Notice you can see all of your perks that could line up down there. And then still alive, a fatal blow revives the hero with full health once per floor. Staying alive is actually a really nice, important one, but I think this looks good, and I think that's a massive change for the game. Now, prep screen. The prep screen will be very bare bones in pre-alpha, so we're currently fleshing it out and adding more features to it. Some of the more notable notes. Now, notice they did say right here, pre-alpha. So we are not yet in any stage of alpha. We are still in the pre-alpha, and it is going to take a while before we actually see this game in our hands. Okay, we've added a backpack for consumables you can accumulate during your run. That makes sense. It's pretty standard in the genre. Phoenix feathers are now per player, persistent and consumable. I love this. This is actually really nice, because if you would have one slacker on your team, they would use up all of your feathers, and then there would be no revives for the rest of the team. So now that they are focused on one player itself, it's really going to allow you to go further if you do happen to have a dud on your team. Feathers no longer refresh automatically every floor, but every floor has 2 Phoenix feathers that can be found and collected. These are not shared, so first come, first serve. In action RPGs, a lot of times, whatever spills on the ground, or whatever's on the ground, or whatever is to be found is for your character. If you could see it, it's yours. But here, with only 2 Phoenix feathers per floor and 3 playable characters per floor, only 2 people are going to be able to find those feathers if they choose to do that. If you can't find any feathers, you can spend gold to top up the feathers between floors. But the higher up you go in the tower, the more expensive the feathers become. That makes absolute sense. We've also introduced floor skips to soften the blow of restarting the climb when you fall back down. Ooh, I want to know more. As you level up your hero, you'll gain access to floor skips at every hero tier. So for context here, if you climb the tower and you'd climb up to level 25, which takes quite a bit of time to do, and if you would die, you would have to go all the way back down to floor number 1. This was pre-alpha. This was brutal. It was very brutal, because you literally have to start fresh every single time. So now this floor skips thing seems interesting, and I'd love to see that in action. Every new tier you achieve will allow you to skip 10 floors, but there's some caveats. That's actually really nice too. You can only skip at floor 1. You can only skip to a floor you've already passed with that hero. Oh, with that hero. So you can't, it's not interchangeable between heroes. All members of the team must meet the hero tier threshold to skip. That's right, we're added the first version of teams. Oh, wait a second. All of the team members must meet the hero threshold. And then look, he snuck it in right there, you sly dog. That's right, we've added the first version of teams. That's massive as well, because as it was prior, you could only play with randoms. It was random who you spun up with. Now you could put a team together, and you could fight through the stages together to the top of the tower, to the highest of peaks. That's awesome. You can create a team before entering a new floor. Currently, this is limited to sharing a team code, but more ways to team up will be added on going forward. Keep in mind, when we play Brawl Stars, they could use a very similar team up mechanic to Brawl Stars. It's something they already have in place. Although Brawl Stars was built on a different engine than Project Rise, I'm curious if that mechanic is interchangeable. Note, however, that if you team up higher in the tower, all team members must be on the same floor. That makes sense. So let's take a look. Here is our, oh, you got some Clash news up top. You have the team code right over here to enter the team. Heroes, here is your backpack icon and the perks you're currently using. And then you have your Rise Floor 1. Notice you already have all these perks, And then you have floor 1 where you would not have already gotten perks unlocked, or many of them unlocked. So maybe they were dropped down. Maybe that's just a UI image. And they're giving us a little focus right here. Look, you're able to skip 10 floors right here because someone has already progressed beyond that, or at least you have. If you get a team in there, everyone would have had to with the character they have. So you could just simply jump to floor 10, or as it looks right here, 20 is also unlocked. You could just jump to floor 20. Yeah, and over here, it's not shown right here, probably because someone on the team is not available to do that. And then right here, you have the feathers. Feathers are rejuvenation. It's a free life. It's like a heart. You die, you resurrect yourself. And here you could buy them with gold, but it looks like they're not that cheap. I mean, I don't know the whole gold economy inside of the game. None of us do, but he's only sitting with 166 gold, and it costs 100 gold for a feather. Sometimes, though, it takes one feather to complete a stage, and you want to probably make sure that you have these feathers, as long as they're not excessively expensive with gold. That is everything we have right now for Project Rise. Everything that's in development. Really looking forward to it. I think they're doing a nice job, having some good progress. With that said, we are still in pre-alpha, which means it's got to go to alpha, it's got to go to beta, and then it's got to go live. Let's cross our fingers that it does. And if you guys want to support my channel, consider using code ECHO whenever you buy anything in any Supercell game. It directly supports my channel, and I am a Supercell creator, so I hope you guys hook me up, and I say what's up and thank you. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you sub. I'll see you back here tomorrow with another video.